All right, I'm going to bring up the name that is going to engage like half the people, and then half the people are going to hate me for bringing it up. But these are reports that are just coming down in like the last hour or two concerning Caleb Williams and one of the last teams I would have connected him to just because of style of play. And that's tremendous football program, but because of style of play, the University of Wisconsin.
It's a team, Mark, that I had heard, and this has been weeks and weeks ago when he initially hit the portal. I had heard that Wisconsin was potentially a team that could be in the mix a little bit, but I haven't heard anything about them. To your point about some of the late breaking stuff here with the in a while, and so I mean, I think Oklahoma fans would be overjoyed if that's if that's where he actually ended up going versus USC, of course. But uh, I don't know. I mean, when you think about it's a. I mean, like you said, it's not a program that has had outside of Russell Wilson. They've not really had a great a great history of quarterback play within that school. In a long time, it's the method for them winning has been the same year after year for the last 20-25 years. Just outstanding defense, great offensive line, great running game, and just trying to do just enough in the passing game to be able to survive. So obviously, if he chooses to go to Wisconsin, I think it gives them obviously a tremendous boost going into 2022 because not only the defense is always going to be there, the running game is probably always going to be there. Now you got a potential game changer at the quarterback position where I guess my only concern would be what does who does he have to throw it to? Do they have enough weapons on the outside at the wide receiver position to be able to have Wisconsin be in the same conversation as Michigan and Ohio State next year? At least Ohio State, because who knows if Harbaugh leaves, who knows what's going to happen with Michigan? But at least for Ohio State.
And even Russell Wilson came to Wisconsin pretty much as a ready-made quarterback, not to say that he learned nothing at Wisconsin, but he showed up as like the offensive player of the year in the ACC at North Carolina State and played all of his football at NC State. He just played 1 year at Wisconsin and took them to the Rose Bowl. So it's not like he developed at Wisconsin necessarily. So yeah, they do not have a history of developing quarterbacks. Now they've got a 5-star in Graham Mertz, and he has not been good. He had more picks than TD passes last year again. And it just does not seem like a fit. And I know with a lot of teams and programs, their reputation gets dated in that we still think of them as being this, and they really aren't, like the Big 12 in defense. I can still have college football conversations, and people are like, the Big 12 defense is horrible, and every game's 55-50. Okay, no, it's not. You're 4 years, 5 years behind the times, but it's still. And with Wisconsin, that is not to say when I bring up the style of play, that doesn't mean that they're lining up in the I formation every play and running some offense from 1985. Yeah, they've updated the offense, but still it has the base of the offense that they ran 10 years ago. They still want to run 70+% of the time. They've got a tremendous running back in Braylon Allen, who was only 17 years old last year and was a beast. And the great offensive lines, and that's still their identity. That's who they are. It's almost like watching Michigan. They've updated their offense with some creativity, but their core is still, we're going to have a tight end. He's going to be very heavily involved, and we'll even put a fullback on the field, and that's who they are. So that strikes me as an odd match.
It does, and I Mark, I think one of the things that that he was, at least from his father's perspective, but I think there Caleb Williams' campus, he wants to be in a place where they feel like he can be developed in such a way that when he decides to enter the draft, then he's ready to play immediately. And so Wisconsin is a place where it not that they don't have good offensive coaching or, good quarterback coach, there at Wisconsin, but it's not a school that, you would immediately look at and say, "Okay, this is where you go, if you wanna be a future NFL quarterback is the University of Wisconsin," right? So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that comes to fruition. I would think, Mark, and a lot of these guys, even for even over, even for Jackson Dart or any of these transfer guys. So they've got to be in place by February 1st if they want to compete in spring ball. So I would think I say this every week, but I would think by this time next week we have a better idea of where some of those kids are going. Just because, especially if you're a quarterback, you want to get you want to get acclimated to your new teammates. You want to get yourself involved in spring ball and things like that. So it puts you behind the eight ball, so to speak. I mean, let's be honest. Caleb Williams is going to start if he comes in the spring or the summer. He'll be the guy. But I think at the end of the day, to be as good as you want to be and to put yourself in a position to challenge Ohio State and be, one of those teams in the Big Ten, or if it's USC, be one of those teams in the Pac-12. You really want to, you would think that these kids would make those decisions here pretty soon in the next few days.